Ron, obviously you said you don't want to see that kind of excitement, whereas the team kind of goes back and forth. But the ability to come back, though, how much does that have to do with the fact that you roll all 4 lines and everyone contributes?
Well, I don't know so much if that's a part of it. It's just a mentality we're creating of getting everybody to throw pucks at the net and believe that any one of our lines can help offensively. Again, we now know we can do that. We can score when we need goals. We've got to stop the other team. We've let, surprisingly, we've got a decent record, I guess, for whatever expectations. But we've let slip 6 or 7 points, and you add those points on what we have now. We could technically be right at the top of the standings in the Eastern Conference. So if we can play a little bit better defensively and have that focus early in the games, it'll make us a better team.
Is that a matter of just getting carried away with wanting to score a lot of goals?
Well, it seems more so at home than on the road. And a lot of teams are like that. It's a little easier for a younger team, I think, sometimes to play on the road and not bear the burden of trying to impress your fans. And we find ourselves behind the 8 ball more so at home than we do on the road. So got to tighten it up the next, Montreal, when they come in with their offense, if we're not stingy defensively, the game could get ugly in a hurry, and you're not going to come back on them as we might on other teams. So it's all part of the learning process.
Is that maybe why the power play has been...
He was going to ask first. You always butt in.
Kerry, talking about the defensive side of things, assess Vesatosko's play and your thoughts on how he's played the last little bit.
Well, I mean, he's been up and down. He's got to be a little more consistent. And but, we've got to do a better job in front of him, too. We're in shooting lanes, but we're screening and we're not trying to block the shot. Once you've committed to being in a shooting lane, your job at that point is not to let a puck go by. If you can block it, you have to. Otherwise, the goalie, there's a good chance he's not going to see the puck. Now you can ask.
Is that maybe why, the young guys wanting to impress at home? Is that maybe why your power play has been better?
Not our young guys. It's our veteran players aren't ready to play at home. Our younger, Grabowski and Kuhlman were certainly more than ready to play last night, and Luke Shen was as well. So we have some guys who have to be more ready to play at home and lead by example. It shouldn't be relying on the young guys to show the veterans how to play.
Is part of that still trying to get rid of the ethic that was here before you got here, Ron, with some of these guys?
A little bit. We tend to have some guys go back to play the way they did man-to-man at times, and we've just got to get that out of our system. And I have to stress it a lot more in practice, which is why we practice the way we did today. Defensive zone coverage, defensive drills. At the same time, while you're defending, the attackers, if they're playing against good defense, have to work twice as hard to score. So it works for both sides of the puck.
Do you like the way that ethic's looking, though, overall? I mean, did you see a change in...
Yeah, our work ethic, anybody will tell you who's played against us, they're really impressed with our work ethic. We just sometimes have to work a wee bit smarter at times.
Is Jason Blake flirting with another stint in the press box?
Not that I know of.
Nick Hagman's play, obviously he's turned it around since the start of the year. I think he just had 1 point in his first 6 games. The lineup, the line mates that he's got, the reason for his success, what would you say?
Well, I think, Grabowski and Kuhlman were like getting their feet wet and trying to figure out, and more than anybody, Kuhlman, it's a totally different ball game here than it is playing in Russia, and he's needed to make some adjustments. And Haggie's been getting scoring chances, or some of them, and now they're going in. It's what happens. The game's cyclical. For 10 days, the staging line was easily our best line, and at the moment, all the focus for us, or the success, is relying on the Grabowski line the last 2 games. So hopefully the 2 lines can be on at the same time. It would make us doubly dangerous, and we've got to have the other lines do a better job defensively.
You had Ian White skating with Steen and Mitchell today and Blake down. Why that?
I did that last night. You were at the game, then you would have seen that last night. So it's not... I made that change last night halfway through the game and stabilized ourselves defensively. That's why I did it.
In Hagman's case, going from Dallas, where he, like you said, he was a third-line player, and then to here, where he's more relied on for offense, is there an adjustment?
Well, I think last year he scored 26 goals, so they were expecting him to score last year too, not just play defense. He's on about the same pace right now, so I think he's actually doing what he was doing last year. Most Eastern Conference people don't watch anything that's going on in the West. And to say that he's a surprise is not. He scored 26 goals last year. So he's on a pace to score about 26 to 30 goals this year. So he shouldn't really be viewed as a surprise. He's a good player.
Sorry, Ron, you talk a lot about puck possession, coaches in general. Would you say that line is the definition of that? Because they never really seem to dump and chase.
No, they are. They're Grabowski and Kleiman, and in particular Grabowski's a real good puck possession guy. Great moves at the offensive blue line. And we don't want them losing possession of the puck. And Haggie's the same way. So there are other lines that are better off to get the puck in deep and get right into a forechecking mode in order to create offense. But I think we have two lines, the Stajan line and the Grabowski line, that can play puck possession, enter the zone with speed. They've all got good hands and make plays.
With some of those veteran players, what do you need them to do better? Is it crashing that?
Have to be ready to play when the game starts and get the job done defensively.